Good morning, traders, and welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room. This is Wesley Sinks here with NinjaTrader. Before I begin, I would like to do a quick test of picture and sound, so please type an A for audio and a V for visuals if you can both hear my voice and see the slideshow on screen. All right, thank you for that confirmation. Again, thank you all for spending time with NinjaTrader today. We do have a very special event for you today. We have Sean Larsgaard of Prediction Point Trading ready to give you a wonderful presentation. Now, NinjaTrader is pleased to sponsor these weekly partner events as a value-added service for our clients. These events are intended to provide increased exposure to the various trading styles and methods taught by our partners. So if you find value in these events, we hope you will attend them on a regular basis. Also, one more item I would like to briefly mention. For those of you who are interested, NinjaTrader has added more free online training events throughout the week and the weekend, including a NinjaTrader Charting Level 1 and Chart Trader event that will begin at 12 noon Eastern today. So feel free to stay logged into the room. You can join on this presentation to learn more about using NinjaTrader charts, how you can trade directly from your chart, and all of the industry-leading features provided with the NinjaTrader 7 platform. Now at this time, I would like to ask everyone in the room a quick question. So if you can please choose the 1, 2, or 3 on this poll screen, that will give me a gauge of the users we have in attendance today. Now, if you would like to comment about the presentation or to learn more about the NinjaTrader software or Prediction Point Trading and NinjaTrader, please send a note to sales@ninjatrader.com. All right, it does look like most of you here in the room to have a chance to fill that poll out. Looks like in the lead we do have those of you in the room using the live license of NinjaTrader. That's always great to see. Also here we do have just a few using the free license, as well as those of you in the room not yet using NinjaTrader. Now, if you are one of those in attendance today who has not yet used NinjaTrader, I would like to invite you to download NinjaTrader absolutely free. You can get started with simulated trading, advanced charting, market analytics, and strategy development. Now, this free version of NinjaTrader that you can download from the following link has no expiration date, so you can use that for as long as you'd like. The only thing that you're not going to be able to do within that free version of NinjaTrader is trade into your live brokerage account. The only time that we ask that you purchase or lease NinjaTrader is if and when you are ready to start trading live. Now, the best value would be to purchase a lifetime license for a one-time payment of $995, which allows you to receive all future upgrades and releases, as well as support from our excellent support team for life. I would also like to quickly note here that there is a 4-month payment option available for that lifetime license as well. Now, if you're not quite ready to purchase a lifetime license, please take a look at our leasing options. Now, we do have many leasing options available where you can go ahead and use NinjaTrader for your live trading on a shorter term basis. Now, lastly, it is important to remember that NinjaTrader is not a broker or data feed provider, so you will need to connect to one of our over 100 supported brokerages or data feed providers worldwide. Now, if you are looking for a data feed provider, I would recommend checking out Kinetic, which is NinjaTrader 7's preferred data feed. Kinetic provides free end-of-day data for stocks, futures, forex, ETFs, and indices, and is pre-configured within every NinjaTrader 7 installation. Kinetic also provides fast, unfiltered tick data. These streaming quote services start as low as $50 a month. You can even have your CME exchange fees waived with a qualified brokerage account. So please see the Kinetic website for more information. We are very excited for this unique event with Sean Larsgaard, whose topic for today is Prediction Points Trading with Master Price Levels. Please join Sean for an exciting event covering the advantages of prediction point trading. And thank you all again for your attendance today. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room, Sean Larsgaard of Prediction Point Trading.
Thanks, Wesley. I just want to do a quick sound test, make sure you guys can hear me okay. If you can, just type in yes. Somebody commented earlier about how NinjaTrader has the best videos for their software, and I have to agree with that. In the 13 years I've been trading, NinjaTrader by far has the most versatility of platforms that I use. So thank you, Wesley and NinjaTrader, for sponsoring this event. So I know a lot of you guys are probably trading right now and you want to get on with your days, and so I appreciate you taking the time to learn about prediction points. I'm going to really get down to it. So if you'll hang out with me for the next 20 minutes, I will answer all your questions. I'm going to talk to you about my experience, my background, prediction points, what they are, how I developed them, and why they're so effective. So before I do that, traditional risk disclosure. I'm not here to claim anything. I am here to show you something pretty unique. So regardless of how long you've been involved in the market, whether you are brand new and you're trying to figure things out, or if you're a veteran, and I know some people that I've worked with in the past have traded longer than I've been alive, so it really doesn't matter where you are at. I think you'll find this pretty interesting. So really briefly, I just wanted to kind of put a face to a name. That's me on your screen. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but I started trading back in 2000, and 6 years later started a technical analysis school. In 2007, I discovered prediction points, which is what you're here to learn about. In 2008, I spoke for the ICE on Russell 2000 minis. In 2009, started a fundamental analysis school, and over about 6-7 year period of time, taught more than 2,000 individuals strategies in the futures market. Whether this is impressive or not, the thing that I need to point out about my experience on the business side of the market is that I didn't have a business idea. I didn't wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to start a trading school. In fact, to be honest, that was the last thing I wanted to do. I was involved in real estate investments, and I worked at a firm in downtown Salt Lake. And what I would do is I would go into work early and trade. And we had this fishbowl conference room, and as people were coming in, they'd see me trading, and I had a lot of people, kind of look over my shoulder, and over a period of time, they would ask me to teach them how to trade. And to be honest, I was very guarded with what I was doing. I had developed my own style of trading, and it was unique to me, and I quite frankly didn't want to share it. Well, over several months, I had about 30 to 40 people, literally, and we had about 130 people at our firm, kind of bugged me. Some people bribed me, some people threatened me, and they just wouldn't leave me alone to teach them how to trade. And so, needless to say, that's kind of how it all started. And so I started my first school, did very well, sold that company, started another school, sold that one, and back in 2007, I discovered prediction points. And so what I want to do is explain what they are. I'm going to just really get to the point. If you want to learn a little bit more about all the fine details of the story, what you can do, I'm not sure if you can see this very well on your screen, but if you go to predictionpointtrading.com and just hover your cursor over products, and then hover your cursor over prediction points, and then just click on story, you can get the details there. But I'll give you the gist of it, and I'll just really get down to the main point here. When I started trading, I was taught the traditional things, indicators, I mean, you name it, I did it. I peeled apart every indicator I could get my hands on. In fact, I had a hunger for more information. I read books, I attended seminars, I bought programs, I did everything that I'm sure a lot of you have done in the past. And in the process, I developed a few of my own, indicator-wise. But what happened is it led me to develop strategies based on theories. And if you ask some of the people that know me, over the past, I've had some pretty outlandish theories. One of them being that the markets were controlled. And at the time, I didn't care if it was true or not. I just had this hypothesis that I was determined to prove. And what I did was I developed a way to measure what I call impact, or in other words, what I might refer to as control patterns. And to me, these were very specific price areas where the market took obvious path corrections. And so I developed a way to measure this, and it was very unorthodox, very nonconformist. I've always kind of gone against the grain to the general ideology, and so I developed a way to do this, and I spent many months, I don't know how many hours, a ridiculous amount of hours, up all through the night, and I had refined it, and it was pretty impressive, all bragging aside. But I got pretty frustrated because the data that I had produced meant nothing. In other words, when I put the numbers onto my chart, it didn't mean anything. It didn't do anything. And so one day I, kind of stormed out of my trading pit, as I call it. And the next morning, I didn't even open my computer up. And if you know anything about me, I've got charts going pretty much 24 hours a day. But anyways, that next day happened to be Fed day, as I call it, FOMC statement day. And Bernanke was fairly new to the scene, and I was curious to see the market's reaction to his statement. And so what I did is I went back in my office and I opened up charts, and sure enough, I had on my screen still from the previous day what I now call prediction points, and the market was bouncing off of these numbers all day. And I didn't really think a whole lot of it. It was more of a coincidental to me. But as the day went on, I hung around, and it was doing the same thing. They were bouncing off these lines, a lot of them to the tick, Sometimes they'd break by a couple ticks, and sometimes they'd miss by a tick or two. But I was amazed at how accurate it was, and I try not to get too excited yet, because there's I don't know how many dozens of things that I've come up with over my years. But so what I did is I ran the same calculation, and I did it for the next day, and this ended up being kind of that missing link, was that the calculations that I was running, I was simply a day off. And so I did it every single day for the next month. And what I did is I called one of my trading partners up, and I said, hey, put these numbers on your chart, and don't call me until the market closes tomorrow. He kind of laughed at me. Actually, he laughed at me kind of harshly, because I had always been coming to him with different strategies, and a lot of them just simply didn't work. So the next day, that's exactly what happened. He called me, and he said, what was that? I said, yeah, that was my reaction. So here we are, 5.5 years later, and they're as accurate as the day I discovered them, developed them. So it didn't matter if it was, the winter of 2010. If you were trading back then, the market was dead. We were lucky to get 3 or 4 point movement during that time, and or 2008, the summer of 2008, when the market crashed. Same type of thing, kind of like what you're seeing on your screen here. I had these massive gaps. So the day before, kind of really it happened. What happened is I had the price levels that I calculated. They were massive. I mean, the space between the gaps between prices were huge, and I couldn't figure it out. And then, sure enough, the next day the market tanked, and and it reacted as it has. So let's see here. I'm gonna skip that. It's an animation that's not gonna work. So I always get asked, what's the classification? Let's see, there we go. So prediction points they're non-lagging indicator. They're a predictive indicator. I'll explain why this is the case. They more fall into a category of what I would refer to as foresight. So in other words, people always say, well, aren't those just pivot points or Fibonacci retracements, et cetera, et cetera? They're not even anything remotely in the same ballpark. When I run the calculations for prediction points, I have every single number for every single day of that new contract. So in other words, this December contract coming up, I've already run the calculations. Every single day in the future for that contract, I've already calculated. I release them pre-market just to preserve their proprietary nature, but I already have all of the day's numbers for the upcoming contract. So this is why I use the term foresight. Validation, I'm going to show you some real examples in just a second here on how this will probably actually be most of your interest with prediction points, and how you can actually really not change a whole lot of anything, keep doing what you're doing, and integrate them into your strategies to increase the probability. I'll show exactly how that works. Okay, and then confluence, and I'll talk about confluence in a second here, and then predictive, this is kind of where the name came from. But let's first talk about confluence. Confluence is something that every single trader wants, and the basic terminology of this is a coming together people of things. And so what we're talking about here is we're talking about myself and you and every other person that's involved in the market. And so what happens is this is what you want. So in other words, if you're long, what you're hoping for is the confluence, or in other words, you're hoping that the majority believes the same thing that you're believing, and therefore buys, causing price to go up so that you win your trade, and vice versa. If you're short, you're hoping for more traders to be short, to join you, and to drive price down. Okay, validation. So let me show you some real examples on how you can quickly and simply integrate prediction points within your current strategies. So this is a very typical day. What you're looking at here, this is Friday. Today is no different. The market's been bouncing off these numbers all morning long. This was just last Friday, a couple days ago, and this is kind of what happens. This is actually very typical. The market will drop down. It will test a price. Yes, they do get broken, just like any other support and resistance number, but the uncanny nature of their accuracy, I mean, you kind of have to see it to believe it. So let's take something very simple. I think everyone in this room, whether you practice a strategy like this or not, you're at least familiar with a double top or double bottom. So something as simple as that, let's look at here. So if you look on your screen, you can see, I more refer to this as a micro bottom, as I've termed it, just because this is a shorter term time frame chart. This is on a 2-minute chart. And so if you look here, we can see that where the arrow is pointing, equal low at 1403, which happens to be a prediction point. And then, whatever indicators you use to look at, divergence, or, if you practice this type of strategy, maybe use the stochastics. And so I've thrown a stochastics here, and we can see that, we're obviously oversold. And so that most people view that as meaning, okay, well, if we're oversold, then I should look at getting out of any short positions and potentially consider going long. But what we have throughout this moment is we have a prediction point. And so what happens is it gives us a very precise entry, and it runs up. And another thing that I've seen over the years is a lot of people have struggled with, where do I take profits? I mean, I'm in a trade, I'm up a point, I'm down a point, I'm up 2 points, now I'm back to even. Where do I put my target at? Well, this is another thing that prediction points can do, is they have that ability to give realistic targets. And so we can see here that this ran up to the next prediction point, and it gave a very clean fill on the exit. And then, as you can see, it turned back down. And then a few minutes later, the market ended. But this is a very typical illustration of how this can work. Let's take another example. Head and shoulder pattern. Here's a way that you can utilize something that's very simple and have very realistic targets. Again, where do I place my exit? And so here we can see H, that stands for the head, if you're not familiar with this type of strategy. LS on the left of your screen, that's the left shoulder, and then the RS, that's the right shoulder. So depending on how if you do execute this type of strategy, how you enter the market on this, whether that's waiting for the neckline to break or entering in on a stair step or a swing low, depending on what terminology you use. What we're looking for now is we're looking at, okay, now I'm in the trade, I've committed, where do I pull profits? Well, we can see here at the bottom of the page, the target zone as it's labeled, prediction point right in the middle there at 1409. And so if we look at the next page, we can see what happened, I think it was about 30, 40 minutes later, is we hit it. So the target was hit. This was our projection point. I will get to every single question. Oh, is there a pointer in here? Let's see, hide drawing tools. Okay. Yeah, sorry guys. How about that? Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. You guys can see my pointer now. So here's the head, here's the left shoulder, here's the right shoulder, and then here was our target. So let's actually go back one more page. So we're looking at, so enter. So sorry for talking fast here. It's kind of my nature. But so if you are, let me just kind of back up a little bit. If you enter this type of strategy on I've always termed it a stair step, looking for lower highs, and I'm a little bit more aggressive. If you're looking for more of a neckline, here's kind of your neckline, so you're going to enter somewhere around here. But regardless of where you enter this type of strategy, you're looking for your exit. And that's really the key to trading. I've often equated trading to the military. I've never been in the military, but when they go into an area, their most important job once in is a way out. Okay, so it's your job as a trader once you execute a trade to find your exit, and the way that you want to do that is profitably. And so this can give that. So we have our target zone here based on, if you use some type of Fibonacci retracement after you've entered a trade so that you can see your measured move. Well, in that target zone, we have a prediction point. And this day it happened to be 1409. Somebody did ask a question about tick charts. Yes, this happens to be a 612 tick chart. So yeah, I'm kind of a candlestick fan, but I will use tick charts for various reasons. Tick charts, you can generally pick out these types of patterns a little bit better than than a candlestick chart, but it's really what you prefer. So then the next page, this was our target. We hit it. It got to the tick here, bounced up, and then came back for an exact fill just a few minutes later. And yes, this is on a tick chart. So virtually, we could grab any strategy. I mean, anything you could possibly think of. If you're a little bit more complicated and use all kinds of indicators on your charts, it really doesn't matter. The point here is aligning your strategies, whatever they may be, with a prediction point, because as you can see here, what happens is they increase the probability quite substantially. Somebody did ask a question about comparing them to other types of pivot points. Prediction points are, I use a predictive model as I mentioned earlier, based on a method that I use to measure impact. And that kind of happened from, noticing key patterns in the market where at least I felt that the market was being controlled at. And as I mentioned before, it didn't matter if I was right or wrong. I had developed a way to measure these, what I call the control patterns. If there was something else, I didn't know what else to call them, but that was how I had to label them. And so what it did is it gave me projections. And so whereas pivot points, for example, the day needs to end. I mean, you're gonna use a calculation based on the high, low, and close of that previous day. This doesn't use anything like that. It uses a completely different method, which allows me to project, or in other words, as I say, predict price action into the future based on prior movement. And so, as I mentioned earlier, I have all of the prediction point numbers for every single day for the next contract, and so they're very different. Let's see, it doesn't work on currency futures. Yeah, I'll actually get to that in a second here. So let's talk about how to test these. And so I get almost daily emails of people wanting to test them, and you can actually do it right now, and it only takes a few minutes. And this is something that people have really liked. Rather than waiting for a trial to lapse, what you can do is just go to predictionpointtrader.com, go to just hover over products, hover over prediction points, and then go down and click on uses. And there's a really quick video there. And what I do is I explain a lot like what I just got done explaining, how to actually test prediction points with your style. And this is something that people have really liked, is that they don't necessarily need to change things. I mean, have you ever gone through the process, you've got a strategy, you've been working on it for a long time, you're confident with it, but it's just, you're just so close. What prediction points can do is they can add that additional confluence, as I've used, and provide that, those exact price levels, and then align those with your strategies, and they can increase the probability. I think you'd be surprised. It only takes a few minutes. Just click on any one of these dates here. It's kind of hard to see on the screen, and then it will give you the prediction points for that day. What I try to do is I'll post today's numbers after the market closes. Obviously, subscribers get them before market opens, but every day so that you can test them. And some people, what they'll do is they'll actually develop a strategy before even subscribing, so they've got a method to use them with. Let's see. It's not based on retracements at all. The question is this based on retracements? It actually has nothing to do with retracements. It's actually very unorthodox, kind of a random method. So let's see here. No problem. So I showed you a couple of examples on how to use them with current strategies, and we could probably spend all day on that, but it's really not more complicated than that. Whatever strategy you use, what you're doing is you're looking for that strategy, but you're looking for it to align with a prediction point. And I think what you'll find is that those specific strategies that you're perhaps already using will increase the probability of those trades being winners by pretty substantially. And you can find out in just a matter of minutes. And so in addition to using them with your own strategies, what you could also do is use them alone and develop a strategy around prediction points. And so I'll show you a couple things here. Let's see here. Actually, let's go to predictionpointtrader.com. I'm going to show you the members area. This is what subscribers get access to. So if you go there, you will not be able to see this. I'm showing you what prediction point subscribers get access to. So basically, right now, and this question always comes up, what markets do these work for? Does it work for Forex, et cetera, et cetera? So the method that I use to calculate prediction points, as I've mentioned several times already, it's very unorthodox, and it's almost archaic. The process, unfortunately, is not something I can just plug into a computer and it runs numbers. It actually takes some time. And so right now, I calculate them for the E-mini S&P 500 and the Russell 2000 minis. Fortunately, with NinjaTrader, you can get these numbers automatically plotted onto your charts every day. I'm doing an update with the Russell, so it's just going to be a few more days until that's done, but they will be auto-populated. But regardless, you can just click on any of the dates here, and a pop-up window will open, and it will give you the prediction point numbers for that day. So you can go back historically if you want to review a day. With NinjaTrader, you can actually go back, and it actually stores all of these numbers within NinjaTrader, and so that's a really nice feature. So right now, E-mini, S&P 500, Russell 2000 mini, and those are what I typically will post these about an hour after market close each day for the next day. So those of you that trade the overnight session, they can be money. Last night, S&P bouncing off lines all night long. And you'll be able to test this a little bit later today after the market closes. You can go back in to the previous site and do that. Okay, that's a great question. So the question is, are these price levels 24 hours? So here's what happens. Once the market closes, a whole new set of numbers will populate. Yes, it is possible that in the overnight session, or in other words, the Globex session with futures, as it's called, they can react, but that's more coincidental. As soon as the market closes and the new market opens, so in other words, today at 3:30 Chicago time, tomorrow's Thursday, so Thursday's prices will be populated. So as soon as the next, I call it candle, in other words, the day's new open begins is when the new numbers happen. And so, yes, technically they are 24 hours a day, but there's a new set of numbers that populate once that new day's candle begins, which is 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, Chicago time. Let's see. Okay, I am working on European indices. I do not have them available. I get a lot of requests for the DAX and FTSE. I do not have an ETA on when they will be finished, so I apologize for that, but I am working on that. I also get a lot of requests for crude oil and various Forex markets. It's more of a time constraint. So right now, E-mini, S&P 500, Russell 2000 minis is what I provide them for. Okay, so that's how you access them. So you can either get them automatically populated onto your NinjaTrader charts, or you can go to this the points page, either the E-mini S&P 500 page or the Russell 2000 page, and get them there. And it just takes a couple minutes, just manual enter onto your chart. I always get that's a funny question. The question is, what happens if I get sick? Do I have a deputy that can crunch the numbers? I laugh because over the last 5.5 years, the question is not usually that. It's usually, what happens if you die? And so what I've done, so I'll cover kind of both that. If I get sick, and guys, in the last 5.5 years, I think there's probably been maybe 5 days, okay, maybe less than 10 for sure, that I have not calculated prediction points. Just to kind of help you get an idea of my obsession with the market, I don't care how I feel, I am in front of my screen, or I grab my laptop and I have it in bed with me. It's just what I've done. It's just the way I am. I'm kind of OCD market. It's very unlikely. And I spent some time in Costa Rica with my wife, and I was up 2-3 o'clock in the morning calculating prediction points for the next day. I mean, I'm just obsessed with it. So it's not going to happen. However, but if it does happen, God forbid, I have kind of a backup. I've created I guess I have it on recording on how it's done, so that if that did happen, I can't believe I'm talking about this, but if that did happen, I have instructions for somebody to release it, and by that time it will probably just be released to the world so that you guys can learn this. It's pretty unique, the method that I use to do it. I have a hedge fund that uses prediction points, and they've been going, they're out of California. I won't name them just due to client confidentiality reasons, and a lot of you would probably actually know this fund. But they use prediction points, and they actually asked the same question. They actually wanted to buy them from me, but they're not for sale. And they actually do the last technique that I had mentioned. They've developed their own strategies around prediction points, and it's pretty amazing what they've done with them. But let me actually finish this real quick. So this is what happens. If you click on a date, a little pop-up box will open up, and it will give you the price levels for that day. Pretty simple, very straightforward, very uncomplicated. I have a few videos in here. There's 5 videos on the video page. I just go through an introduction to prediction points, what they are, a little bit more information than I've given here. There's an earthquake right now in Costa Rica. My goodness, I did not hear about that. I'm glad I'm not there. I go through charting, just more wow, 7.5. That's amazing. I go through just more insight on their nature and just more information on things that you need to know on how the market reacts to them that can really help you in either developing strategies or using them in conjunction with your current strategies. And guys, I've been doing this for a long time. I started back, I'm sure some of you in here have been trading longer than I've maybe been alive, but I've been involved in markets for 13 years. I've personally, taught a couple thousand people, and that's not a big group, and taught to the masses. I know each one of those people, taught most of them one-on-one on a one-on-one basis, and so I understand the nature of traders. And so if you choose to subscribe to Prediction Points and you have questions, send me an email. You'll see right here a support tab. You just click on that on any one of my pages, click on the support tab, send me an email, and I'll respond to you personally. This is what I do. I love it. I'd be happy to review a strategy that you have and give you some insight. But anyways, this page here in the members area, I just go over some things about Prediction Points and how the market reacts to them, and some of the whys. What they also do, here's something that's really cool, is that I mentioned earlier how in 2008, when the market crashed, I had mentioned that the day before that happened, my Prediction Point numbers had huge gaps in between. And that day, I thought I did something wrong, because prior days that wasn't happening. And then sure enough, the next day, the market went ballistic and it had massive movement. And so I talk about this in one of my videos here on how they can give very realistic and accurate projections. And so, days where we have big movement, what's typically going to happen, you can kind of get a heads up on that by the spacing between prediction points. And so in other words, if we have a little bit bigger gaps between numbers, you can expect bigger movement that day. If we're a little bit tighter and the prediction points are closer together, there's probably going to be some congestion, as I call it, or in other words, consolidation. And so want to watch out for those price areas, because the market's going to work through those price levels to go to where it ultimately wants to go. Okay, yeah, thanks, Alan. The question or the comment is, I should lay out the process step by step how to become a member. Yeah, I'll do that in just a second here. Okay, and then lastly, this is a relatively new page. I'm not a school. I don't necessarily teach strategies. What I really prefer is to provide these, and then just more provide suggestions on different ways to use them. Because everyone's got their own unique strategy. What will work for one person may not work for another person, just because of the type of person they are. Some people are aggressive, some people are conservative. However, to kind of fill the gap there, what I have created, and I'm in still the process of adding more to this exchange page is reserved for really a strategy exchange. And so I've got a couple videos I'm working on that will be posted very quickly here. This video that you see, that obviously I can't play, this is just a picture. But I do talk about one strategy that has been very effective, and I provide the actual statistics in an Excel format that you can use, that you can implement with anything. And so this page, some of these videos are actually from Prediction Point subscribers that have said, hey, this strategy is working awesome, I'm killing it. There's a strategy that one of my subscribers uses. He likes to be referred to as happy subscriber. This guy he does very well. A lot of days he'll make thousands of dollars a day. And so I share that strategy in here as well. That video is almost done. So this is just a place that you can go to get ideas on whether to enhance what you're already doing or to add to your trading arsenal, as I would put it. Let's see here. So work with fundamentals like tend to, yeah, so, that's a great question. I meant to actually, so the question is, does it work with fundamentals like, into reversals and when Bernanke speaks? Amazingly is the answer. I meant to put up the last Fed day up here, and what do we have? A lot of the announcements, like unemployment claims or just about anything. I think you'll be shocked at how accurate price will run up. So, for example, price will be wherever it's at, and then an announcement will come up, and let's say the market shoots up. Oftentimes, in fact, more times than not, price will run up to a prediction point within a tick or two or exactly, and then it will run back down. It's pretty amazing. In my previous company, I taught a lot about that. So yeah, they will match up. And what you can do is you can just grab any announcement that you're looking at, and then go to that uses page that I showed you earlier. In fact, let me back up to that. Let me scroll back a few pages here. So just go to predictionpointtrader.com, hover over products, hover over prediction points, go down and click on uses, and then it will give you all the numbers. So if you want to review a specific announcement, just click on that date, and it will give you the prediction points for that day. It will take you 30 seconds to enter them on your chart, and you can see exactly how that announcement reacted to prediction points. So I get a lot of questions, and I'm getting some here about floor pivots, pivot points, Fibonacci pivots, value areas, for market profile traders. So this is kind of what I've been talking about, and how you want to use prediction points. So if you use floor pivots or other type of pivots, whatever type of pivots you use, you can use those in conjunction with prediction points. So in other words, let's say you have a floor pivot or another type of pivot at I'll just use a random price of 1400, and let's say there's a prediction point at 1400.5. This is very good. This is very good news. So if you're wanting to go long at that based on your strategy, this can give you that extra confidence that you're going to have an increased probability of that trade working out. Or maybe it's the reverse of that. Maybe it's a short position. That's exactly how you want to use prediction points. And it's literally that simple. It's not any more complicated than that. I do have today's ES chart with prediction points. The computer I'm on is a dedicated computer that I do not have any other software on. So unfortunately, I can't show you that. But what you can do is go to the same page that you see on your screen. Yeah, I do not have, this is not my trading computer. I do not have trading software on this computer that I'm on doing this presentation. But after market close, just go to the same page and you can get today's numbers, and you can take you 30 seconds to plot them on your chart, and you can see exactly how today played out. Okay, so let me go back to where I was at. Okay, so that's the exchange page, and that's pretty much it. Let's see, I'll cover that in just a second. Sorry guys, I'm jumping around here. This right here, this is a snapshot of a day. As I mentioned, it was last Friday. These are my charts. I don't have indicators cluttering up my charts. I don't have anything but prediction points on my charts. I mean, I keep it very simple, very to the point. I used to have all kinds of indicators on my charts, and I'm not against indicators. Lagging indicators, obviously, is what I'm talking about. And in fact, they can be very useful with various types of situations. But I keep things very simple. And so if you choose to subscribe, what you'll see in members area is that very mentality. I don't clutter things up, keep things very to the point and direct. Let's see. It's interesting you bring up high frequency trading. If you do a little bit more research on my site, you'll see that I'm actually actually a big proponent of high frequency trading. Oddly enough, and that's not what today's webinar is about. If you want to ask me specific questions about high frequency trading, you can just click on support and ask those to me. And I should probably leave it at that, since we want to keep it on topic. But I do have experience in that. I do have, in fact, some products that deal with high frequency trading from an algorithmic perspective. But I will answer your question. So if you're not looking at the screen right now, the question is, how do you trade when high frequency trading moves 10 handles in an eye blink? There's really two things that will happen. So one scenario is it will blow through price, a prediction point. Or secondly, you'll have kind of a gap, and it's almost as if it predicts that. I've seen both happen, actually, in both cases, and it's just kind of the reality of the market. ultimately, what's going to happen, as every single one of you knows, is the market's going to choose its direction. It doesn't care if there's Fibonacci in the way. It doesn't care if there's prediction points in the way. It doesn't care what's in its way. It will blow through whatever it wants to get to where it wants to. And so that's just kind of what happens. And so that's the risk we take on as traders, is we analyze the risk, and we put on trades based on our risk tolerance, based on all the parameters that we use to trade by. And so that can happen, and it does happen. Yeah, that's a good point. The comment here is basically I do post the data at the end of the day, so it's difficult to to see the quote unquote prediction aspect of this when we don't have them in advance. Let me look at my other computer real quick. So today we have I'm just on the other side of my office looking at my other computer. So like, for example, right now we have a couple prediction points. We've got one at 1403, 1402. We had one at 1407.75, which reached the high of the day. Then we had one at 1400.75, which reached the low of the day, and it broke it by a couple ticks. And so what we're doing right now is we're kind of moving between these little bit tighter congested, little bit tighter zones there. Okay, how's my audio? I'm getting some messages. My audio is poor. Yes, the high frequency trading. Yeah, just go to my website, click on products, and you'll see what I'm referring to there. One of the pages is not done yet, but the information's there. So, anyways. There's a couple of the prices that we focus on today. I wanted to bring up this because the mention of backtesting was brought up. Backtesting is going to be strategy specific, and so NinjaTrader has done a very good job at providing a tremendous amount of education that's available for free. And so if you haven't been here, what I would suggest doing is going to their YouTube channel. And there's a lot of videos on there that, it takes you a few minutes. But because prediction points are part of the NinjaTrader platform, and you can get them populated there, you can go back. I've got the entire last year's worth of prediction points on there, and so you can learn how to do various things like that, testing, backtesting. In fact, if I go to the next slide here, be sure, if you haven't done this, I'm sure a lot of you get these emails, be sure to plug yourself into their webinars. They do a market replay every week. They do a new user orientation, automated strategy development. The list really is endless, and they do an incredible job at articulating how to do these things. And it doesn't take a long time. If you use NinjaTrader right now, you already know how simple it is to use. It definitely requires some learning, but you just need to take the time to do it. And they provide a very good way to do that. So take advantage of that. It's very easy to integrate prediction points within your style of trading, as I've described. The question was brought up: how do we go about doing that? That's a fair question. The comment here is, since I don't use other indicators, what triggers do I use to trade? So basically, I could talk to you about this for hours, but I'll get to the gist of it just to answer your question. So what I look for is more of a I use lots of strategies. I do like the head and shoulder pattern strategy that I showed you earlier. That's very basic and it's very easy to see. I use more of a directional strategy, I guess you could say. And so I've developed a way, and I'm going to be providing this, I hope by January. One of the studies that I've been conducting for years is trying to, quote unquote, predict the direction. And I don't have something that's miraculous, but I do have something that's pretty amazing. And it's not so much a direction predictor as it is an opportunity seeker, as I would more call it. And so what I'm looking for, like for example today, and it's easy to say this in hindsight, but what I'm telling you is true. Today I was looking for a pop up, based on my method of doing this. And so what I'm hoping happens if I have a direction that says up, what I'm hoping happens is that the market will drop initially, especially after open, so that I can get better fills. And so what I'm looking for then is I'm looking for what prediction points can I potentially enter in at to go this direction. And so then I simply look. It's literally that simple. I look at what prediction points are below current price that I want to target. And that's one of my main strategies, actually. And so if the direction's down, then I'm looking for the opposite. I'm looking for a pop up so that I can look at specific price areas to short. That's a fair question. So the question here is, are these prediction points used more as targets instead of how to enter a trade? I use them for both, actually. So once I'm in a trade, what I always do is I look, okay, where's the nearest prediction point, or where's my preferred target at? Sometimes I'll exit where there's no prediction point because I just don't, the market's just not moving in, either in my favor or it's not moving towards my target fast enough. And so then I'll just get out. I'll just hit the eject button and I'll either cut my losses or I'll break even or I'll grab a smaller profit. But generally speaking, I like to use prediction points as targets, and a lot of the subscribers that I have, they use them that very way. Okay, so let's see if you can predict live from contract point. Yeah, it's a fair comment. If I can predict live from contract points, then you don't know in advance whether the market will be up or down. For example, I mean, the market either is going to end up or down. I'm not concerned about it entering up or down because I don't hold trades long term. The shortest trades are seconds. When the market's moving fast, my longest trade, I'm usually not in trades more than a half hour. So quite frankly, I don't care if the market is going to end up or down. What I'm looking for, the way that I trade at least, is I'm looking for opportunities to get in and out of the market. Okay, so, and that's all I care about. That's an interesting question. The question here is, are the prediction points 100% accurate, 90% accurate? It's such a difficult thing to say because, I mean, they're very accurate. I don't know. I wouldn't say they're 100% accurate, but they're up there, and you can see for yourself. Just again, go to that uses page, and you can look at prediction points and test them for yourself. But basically, what prediction points say is that here's a price, and what the prediction point price is saying is that if price gets to this, or if the market gets to this price, then there is a high probability of the market reacting to it. Now, whether that's breaking through it and coming back down to bounce off of it long side, or whether that's going up to it and then slamming down from that price level, it really just depends. But that's how the market works, though. It goes up, it tests levels, it breaks them, comes back to retest them, back and forth. There's this flow of the market. This is what these ups and downs are, and this is what I look for. And so, as I mentioned before, I don't care if the market ends up or down. I'm looking for very specific opportunities within the intraday to get in, to get out. Point here, a few points there, and that's it. I really don't complicate it more than that. How do I determine, so since the prediction points are above and below price, how do I determine direction the market will is likely to move? I have a method of doing that, and this is, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, this is something that I will be providing hopefully by January. And it's basically just, as I mentioned, it's more of an opportunity seeker or opportunity predictor. But the way that I do it is a very similar way that I calculate prediction points, and it kind of gives me that projection. But it's been very accurate, and I'm just compiling the data so that you can go back and look at the data to get an accurate view on how to use it. So that's a good question. Are prediction points only for the ES? Right now, I calculate them for the ES and the TF. So E-mini, S&P 500, and the Russell 2000 minis. I am working on other markets, but those are the two that I provide them for right now. That's a good question. Are prediction points good for the morning session, or do they start later? They're good all day long. In fact, they're also good if you trade the overnight session. You could use them for that too. Some of these, just really quick, I know some of you have to leave, so really quickly, and I'll go back to your questions. If you're interested in subscribing to Prediction Points, just go to predictionpointtrading.com, click on subscribe, and then upon checkout, enter this code NINJA, capital N. Make sure you have a capital N, and you'll get $50 off any of the subscription options there. And it looks like this. So just go to predictionpointtrading.com, click on subscribe, and then you can choose the ES, you mean S&P 500, or the Russell, or both. And there's different subscription options there. Again, enter that code, and you can get that discount. So I had a hedge fund back in 2009 that commissioned me to calculate prediction points for, what was it? It was the Euro futures. And they were very similar to the S&P, similar meaning how the Euro futures reacted to prediction points. It had a very similar type of movement. They were very accurate. I don't do that anymore because he went to a different fund and they do a completely different sector. But they did work really well, and I haven't calculated them since on any Forex markets. But that is in future plans to do that. So yes, back to the sessions. Again, prediction points are calculated as soon as the new day opens, which again is 3:30 p.m. Chicago time, and they're good all through the night and then into the close of the next day. And then a whole new set of numbers will populate. No problem. All right, any other questions, guys? Thanks for taking the time out of your trading days. I know a lot of you want to get back to your trading sessions, but if you have any last minute questions, I'd be happy to stick around and answer them. If you go to any of the pages on my website, you can click on, I think it says support, just a tab on the side. Ask me any question you want. I'd be happy to answer. This is what I do. I have a passion for it. It's been a lot of fun. And if you do subscribe, I think you'll really love it. Thanks, guys. All right, well, if there's no other question, that's a wrap. Thanks, NinjaTrader and Wesley for sponsoring this event. And like I mentioned, if you do have questions that you thought of after you've left today, just visit my website and contact me, and I would be happy to answer any question you have.
All right, I would like to give a special thank you to Sean Larsgaard of Prediction Point Trading for a great presentation. NinjaTrader is pleased to sponsor these weekly partner events as a value-added service for our clients, so if you find value in these events, we hope you will attend them on a regular basis. Now you may stay logged into the room for the NinjaTrader Charting Level 1 and Chart Trader event that will begin at 12 noon Eastern today. Again, we appreciate the time you spend with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you in future webinars. Happy trading from all of us here at NinjaTrader.